Welcome to the Canadian Immigrant Virtual Fair presented by Achieve and Seneca College. I'm your host for this session, Ramya Ramanathan, editor for Canadian Immigrant, and I hope you're all enjoying the fair so far. So today we're thrilled to welcome our final speaker. The topic is dishing on diction, cooking up content that communicates and connects. I love the topic. The consummate communicator cherry picks her words. So sorry, we're talking about communicator. Okay. The consummate communicator cherry picks their words, much like how a chef would select their choice ingredients inside their dish carefully. Diction is the secret ingredient to make your well-crafted message more memorable. In this session, we will learn the guiding principles of vocabulary selections through a buffet of examples in different scenarios. So we're thrilled to welcome Janice Law, who is joining us today. Janice is an interior designer with a passion for speaking. She is a distinguished Toastmaster and a veteran member of the Grosvenor Toastmasters, a President's Distinguished Club since the year 2000. She is known as a dynamic facilitator with infectious energy and a natural sense of humor. And just to add, Janice is herself an immigrant. So welcome, Janice. We're thrilled to have you here with us today. The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you so much. And yes, adding to the list of hyphens, I am not only a designer, I also love vintage things, and also, well, playing with words. Actually, this happened. That's the house phone. One moment, please. There was never a call at the house until I'm on the Zoom meeting. Thank you. I'm an immigrant myself, just like all of you in the house. So it is my extreme pleasure to share one of my greatest interests with all of you because, well, like I said, diction is the basis of everything, whether it is written communication or written communication or spoken communication. You need words, and that is, the ingredient for whatever message you want to share, for whatever story you want to share with your audience, be it your interviewer, your colleague at work, or even just communicating with your family. You need to choose your word wisely, and when you do, and you'll realize you have fun with it and you make a difference. So once again, my name is Janice Law. I'm a designer and also a Toastmaster. So I would not be able to do any of this today without the help of Grosvenor Toastmaster. And stay till the end. I will tell you more about it and how you could get your English spoken skills up there, just like me, how to join us at the very end. So I'm going to start my slide. I hope everyone can see it. Can people see it? Can you start maybe type some one or two? Yes, good. You guys can see it. Perfect. Good. Okay. Yes, a lot of people can see it. And you guys have lunch already. I hope it's not going to make you hungry, but we are here as chefs want to be, or me, aspiring Michelin star chef, to dish on diction. So you should see the next one. Why should you care about diction? Yes, it is the basis for communication, whether it's spoken or written, but while the well-crafted narrative with the appropriate diction, it connect and resonate with your audience. And then also make your message more memorable. And on that note, I also want to say there is this, with the techniques effect, a lot of people will say, yeah, you have to do storytelling. But a lot of time you just want to say something. There's no story to it. There's no story arc. There's no example to give. You just want to say something. But, it still helps. When you choose your word carefully, you could still make your message more memorable. And then inspire them into action. Whatever you ask them to do, you could make them buy into your message, buy into your ideas. And just like I do day in and day out, talking to business owner, pitching my design ideas, or talking to project manager, or talking to trades at a construction site. You need to be able to articulate your idea and make them memorable. If they don't remember, they're not going to do it. So here it is what I'm going to do. The agenda, I'm going to share with you my method for madness. How do I get to choose what word to use? What are some of the guiding principles? And then there are some techniques, short and sweet, long words, short words, small words, being elusive or definitive in your words, and then lastly, using analogy in your narrative. Yes, there's a lot of topic. Usually this is a much longer workshop. We only have 30 minutes. By now it's about, I guess, 25 minutes. So we're not going to cover everything, but we're going to jump right into the most delicious part of this presentation, which is the analogy, the part that is have most fun. But before we get to the fun part, let's take a step back and talk about, the method to madness. What are some of the guiding principles? So I want all of you to consider this scenario. You are the speaker, you're at a career night trying to talk to a bunch of high school students, maybe convincing them to become an interior designer, just like me. Or you are in front of the board of directors, you are going to debrief them on a project or on an initiative that you have done. Think about who are you talking to? Who are they? Well, on one hand, we have some really young students, teenagers, maybe short attention spans. They have a different frame of reference, their connection with pop culture. And then you have a bunch of suits, shall we say, at the board of directors. And then what are the scenarios? The levity of the situation. Is it serious? What are you trying to achieve in this communication with them? Are you trying to inspire them, inform them, or are you trying to convince them, persuade them something? Yes, give me a raise, or join me in the wonderful profession of designers. Oh, and then lastly, think about how you're going to use all those words. Yes, if you have the time, you could do the storytelling. You could do your me story. You don't have the time. With your words, how do you use it? Are you going to use it as a main ingredient, or sprinkle it like a spice, like that garnish at the top, or use a bookend method, beginning and the end? As you could see, so far by whole presentation, I've been using this cooking analogy. Without you knowing it, I've hooked you in, even with my workshop title, is Dishing on Diction. You're cooking up messages. I have started working on this analogy even before you set foot in this Zoom room. And I call myself not just a designer, not just a presenter. I call myself an aspiring Michelin chef. I'm going to choose words with you here. And this is a little graph that we use and is shared with me with a friend who is an English professor at George Brown. So this is, in your any communication situation, what's the purpose, who's the audience, your message, you'd have a message, and then the context into culture, and then you. And I, the way I write has my tone of voice. It was very different when you go back to look at the presenter's bio. I know I'm the third presenter today, the third speaker. The way I write is very different with other people's tone of voice. So this is what you keep in mind when you are trying to choose your word. So as I promise you, we're going to do a deep dive and spend the next 15 minutes on diction, on analogy itself, using analogy in the narrative. Okay. And what's the recipe? I'm going to tell you, this is my tried and true recipe of using diction. So there are three things in any part of speech: people and things in action, and you describe them in detail. So what does it really mean? Okay, this is for the English teacher out there. Noun and pronouns, that's whoever is carrying out the action, people and things. And then the action itself is the verb. Usually it's the one with the ing at the end. I'm doing something, talking, all that. I'm presenting. And then the last thing, you're describing something in detail. How are you doing it? You're doing it fast, doing it slow, doing it well. That's the adjective and adverb. I know all this is very boring so far, but I promise you it's going to come alive soon. So let's break it down. Noun and pronoun. What does it mean? So you could say someone is a home cook, a sous chef, a master chef. Like I said, I'm an aspiring Michelin star chef. I'm trying to, instead of saying that you are doing a project, yeah, I am the mastermind or the master chef behind this project. No. When you substitute your boring regular noun and pronoun, you could also substitute it, borrow the notoriety of a celebrity figure. And when you say that, oh, he is the Jamie Oliver of Excel sheets. Or you could say that he's the Gordon Ramsay of Excel sheets. You can see there's a right away, you have very different idea who this colleague would be. How does he behave, right? One is, the Hell's Kitchen master, someone who yell with profanity, and the other one is the sweet, family man next door, Jamie Oliver. So tap into that celebrity figure. And then not only you could describe those things, you could also borrow these words. I earlier in the introduction, I promise you that I will be giving you a buffet of examples. Right? So it's hard to substitute the word examples because if you substitute that word, then you change the meaning. Sometimes it's hard to substitute that pronoun, that noun, but add buffet of example or a healthy helpings of tips that will add color to your language. And you could also different part of our meal, entree, appetizer. As your third presenter today, is the dessert course. And everyone knows dessert is, you could skip your appetizer, but you shouldn't skip dessert. So adding color to your word. And then sometimes with the ingredient, whether it's a sweet red pepper or jalapeno or a habanero. Wow. I think habanero is hotter and spicier than the jalapeno, right? Whatever it is, you see the difference if you want to describe your teacher. Oh, my English teacher, she is like the sweet red pepper. You have an idea of the temperament, or she is the habanero of English teacher. Let's look at the second part of the ingredient in our try and true recipes. You could substitute the verbs and phrasal verbs. So we could talk about you are slicing and dicing an idea, everything related to the meal prep. And then you could also talk about the cooking process. You could cook, you could steam, you could simmer versus you could boil something. There is a difference in there. The word percolate, I like that a lot. I use that word actually all the time. It's like, I'm letting that idea percolate. I have the idea of writing a book for a long time. I'm letting that simmer. So you could describe the process, how you were doing it. And then also don't forget the phrasal verb, dishing out, boiling over. You could be boiling something, but if it boiled over, um, it's boiled over, then wow, that's no good. And then this is why I also like the sort of the culinary example, the culinary analogy, because there is so much that you could work with, from the meal prep process to the cooking process, and then now the favorite part, everyone's favorite part, to eat, the eating process, to eat something, to taste something, to devour something, or to this is a very common phrase, to mull something over. It says a lot, right? And then you could serve it on a silver platter with someone also. So there is a rich library of words you could use there. The third part of our speech is adjective and adverbs. Now, we could describe how delicious and yummy things are. Or let's talk about juicy, sizzling. Look at that, You could almost smell it, right? So you could say someone's idea is right on point, or is good, or you say, that's a sizzling idea. Or when something doesn't go very well, I love this category, this bullet point, to say something is undercooked, overdone, half-baked, or burnt. I hope you don't think that my culinary analogy is, overdone, because you can never overdone it. Well, use it wisely. Don't use it to the point that everyone's puzzling for the meaning. But do have fun with your work. And then I also love these phrases: have your cake and eat it, icing on the cake. Using these words add the color to your language and hopefully make your message more memorable, because, well, we all attend a lot of Zoom call, right? A lot of Zoom meeting. When it's in the virtual medium, all these colorful words hopefully would help you connect with your audience and make it more memorable, make them feel that they are more connected with what you're saying. So let's recap. People and things in action, describe in details. Let's change it up. Let's put it into practice. This project has been going well. How can we change it up? How can we add the spices, use diction to say the same thing? Let's look at it. The nouns and pronouns. What's the nouns and pronouns here? Feel free to type in the chat, or I know you guys couldn't unmute or yell out your answer, but project, here it is. The project is the subject, and that's the people and things here. The action is going, is ongoing, is going on. It's a pretty banal word. It's not a word that says a lot. English language have a lot of those words. And then the last thing, describing it in details, the adjective, the adverb. Well, here is well. How can we change it up? Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. The project is simmering nicely. That's right. That's good. Or we could say, this project has been, we've been followed. Yeah, we have followed the recipe well, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. We could say that this has been, yes, it's been going on baking. That's good. Or we could say that, the project, or we could say, we are working on the project and the chefs have been working on it, and then it has been going well. In order, it is almost ready to serve. And I've been using cooking as an analogy because I personally like it. I think everyone has to eat, so I think it's a very easy entry point for everyone. It's a very easy entry point. Everyone could relate. Well, except if you haven't eaten today, like if you skip lunch, maybe you were a little bit starved forward. But I think cooking is a great analogy. Culinary, even if you don't cook, if you don't cook, then it may be hard to come up with some of those action verbs, cooking, roasting, slicing, dicing, all those related to the meal prep. But then there's still a lot of things that you could work with, like food ingredients. You could deal with the actions. You're describing something that's overdone or half done is simmering well, although we could still use. But what are some of these other analogy you could use? Well, here is one, and I want everyone to help brainstorm for idea. Okay, so we have about another 3 minutes towards the end. This is almost my last slide. Okay, so I want everyone to brainstorm because sports is also a very rich resource for analogy. So we see someone right in the middle playing hockey, our national sport. So what are some of the people and things that we could talk about here? Yes, the sportsman player. Start typing it in. Let's type yes, team. Team is good. Sports team is my team, your team, and I really like using sports as analogy in a business setting, especially when you're doing team sports. Okay, we rallying someone up together. Okay, there are coaches. Those could be your supervisor, your mentor. Coaches. There are different players. There are the, how do you call it, the understudy or the one. Oh yes, the referee. We have referee, and then we have someone who is supposed to sit at the side bench or the first draft. There's a rich analogy for it. Or you could say someone borrowing from baseball is someone who's a pitcher or someone who's going up for bat. Action. So there is action to shooting for score. Yes, Jennifer, thank you for the sentence. We took a short and score with the project. Yes, thank you. That's a great example. So in the action, you could shoot you could run to the finish line. You could be doing a marathon. You could be tagging or running for a marathon. You could tag team. There's lots of actions in there. Or sometimes maybe call for a timeout. This is also very common. Oh, I need to call for a timeout. Or this project needs a timeout because there's too many conflicting ideas. Or we are waiting for our East Coast office to come up for the final direction. Describing it in details, we could also talk about how ferocious the competition has been, or the mood, how fast things are. The audience members in the Scotiabank Center when they were when they shoot for goal, they are rallying team. Yes. Stuck in the sand trap. Yes. And also, how about the hole in one, or your 3 bats, you're out, you're having a strike. All this is very very rich resources you could tap into to make your perhaps very, very mundane weekly project meeting sound more interesting. If it's not going to make your message more memorable, at least it makes you enjoy your weekly meeting a bit more. And that's it. That's everything I have to share with you. I hope this session has whet your appetite with the possibility of diction. I know I'm a home cook myself. I like to cook myself, so I am just as happy to mince out my word, to play with ingredients and all that. But hopefully, even if you are not a cook or chef and don't cook, hopefully this gives you some food for thought. And hopefully you would try my try and true recipe next time when you have something to share at your weekly roundup. And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to know more about Toastmaster, feel free to let me know, connect with me. There's a quick link there to join my Toastmaster Club's meeting next time. So right now, we're going to open up the floor for some questions. If you have questions.
Thank you, Janice. Thank you for a very creative presentation. That was definitely a Spanish smashing hit. So we have 3 minutes. So I'm going to ask this one question that Jennifer has asked. I believe she's your fellow Toastmaster. So she says, great question. What skills can newcomers to Canada pick up from organizations like Toastmasters?
Wow. Thank you, Jennifer, for the question. For sure, I think a lot of time you need is the confidence. I know a lot of immigrants do have basic skills in language. If not, you would never score enough points to actually land here. So there is a baseline for language. But what Toastmaster and the habit of attending meeting, what it helps you to do is build up your confidence. Give you the place, a safe place to practice and to try, to make mistake, or actually to try. Maybe you have a presentation you're going to do at work, and you get to try a portion of it out at the meeting, and then you get feedback. There's another great advantage of Toastmasters. So give it a try.
Great. And so this made a huge difference to you, would you say? Do you want to tell us a little about your personal background with Toastmasters?
My own personal background, I joined Toastmasters, discovered it shortly after I graduated from Ryerson School of Interior Design. So it is interesting when I first got involved, and when I realized, oh, there is such an outfit, such an organization, I was surprised. I wish I have joined. I have known about it earlier, and honestly, I have not stopped being a member ever since. There was a period of time that I work abroad, so this is also a very common experience. Toastmaster, they actually move around. Toastmaster is an international organization, so when I was working abroad, unfortunately, I was in Sri Lanka, and I was in a very small town, and there is no Toastmaster club in that city. But when I was passing through in Hong Kong, I did visit a club. So this is a global outfit. You're going to meet a lot of like-minded individuals who are interested in growing, in self-improvement, in doing things well, and helping others do things better. So this is definitely, if lifelong learning is your goal, then you should definitely check out Toastmaster.
Great. Thank you so much. That was some fabulous information. And definitely, I've been planning to look at the French Toastmasters Club, and I'm going to go and do it. I'm going to Google it this weekend. So that's all the time we have today. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Janice, for taking the time to speak with us. This has been very interesting, insightful as well. Thank you to our sponsors, Achieve and Seneca College, and all of our exhibitors today. So please rejoin the fair and feel free to chat with our exhibitors who are here to help you. The fair is on for another half hour, so until 4 p.m. EST, that's 1 p.m. Pacific time. So go ahead, enjoy the fair, and thanks again to Janice.
Thank you, Rami.